Cavalier 25-yard line. 1st and 10 for Virginia Tech. Thomas in motion to the right. The pitch to Maurice Williams. Hurdles people inside the 10 to the 5. He's all the way in for the touchdown. 25-yard run by Maurice Williams. And suddenly, it's Tech by 20 to 10 over the Cavaliers, and 7:17 left for the game.
The Virginia Tech Hokies dominated play in the second half, came from behind, trailing 10-0 at halftime. They put 28 points on the board in the second half, beat UVA 28-10. Bill Dooley's here. We'll be back and visit after this.
Virginia Tech football with head coach Bill Dooley and the voice of the Hokies, Jeff Charles, is brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers. Budweiser, for all you do, this Bud's for you. And by Goodies Manufacturing in powders and tablets. And locally by...
It was the second half by the Virginia Tech Hokies that their fans will not forget for a long, long time. Tech putting 28 points on the board, winning 28-10 over UVA. And Coach Bill Dooley, I don't know what you told the troops at halftime, but they came out and really played a fired-up, enthused second half.
Well, I was very proud of our football team, Jeff. We really didn't tell them that much at halftime, other than the fact that, you know, we needed to play up to our capabilities, and our pride was at stake. We were down 10-0. If we went out and executed both offensively and defensively like we were capable, I thought we'd win the football game. And, you know, in the first half, Virginia completely dominated the ball game. Offensively, we only had the ball 6 plays in the second quarter, and Virginia went on a long drive, must have been 90 yards for their score, and they were out in front 10-0. And at halftime, we said, well, we just get the football and we'll control it, keep it away from them. That was our plan, just to keep them away from the football. And if we're able to do that, we'd win the football game. And our football team responded. They played very determined. Our offensive line came off the ball well. Our offensive backs ran well. And then the defense came up and made some big plays.
Can't say enough about the offensive line and all senior unit. They just played so well. Eddie Hunter and Maurice Williams for the second consecutive week ran the ball so well, too.
Well, they certainly did, Jeff, and I was very proud of them. I'm proud of the entire football team. In every phase, the kicking game, I thought, did a very good job, and we didn't have any turnovers.
As far as the offensive line play, any adjustments in blocking assignments or anything of that matter?
No, it was simply that we came out and we tried to loosen them up throwing the football. We didn't have much success doing that. We'd only have 1 completion for 5 yards, and, you know, I think we loosened them up, but we didn't do as well as we'd like to do in the passing game, but the running game really was very effective for us in the second half.
And that's exactly what the Hokies did. Came out and ran the ball on UVA in the second half and did a super job. Let's go back out now to Scott Stadium in Charlottesville. 44,500 in attendance. A beautiful day. In fact, Coach, it was a rather warm day out there.
It was very warm, Jeff. This was the first play of the ball game. Desmond Beckton goes in motion. Todd Greenwood back to pass, and he's hits Beckton for a 6-yard gain. That was Eric Clay, the strong safety. This is David Cox back to punt. This is a 39-yard punt. Good job there. As Jamel Adjemi, the first man down, as Dwight Osbrooks and Bo Blankenship coming in and making the tackle on that play. Now we pick up action with Virginia in possession of the football. This is Majikowski pitching out. And, of course, he fumbles the football. Bullock recovers for him, and that's a loss of 2 yards. Now Mikowski back at quarterback again. Excellent play there by Morgan Rome, our defensive end. Morgan had 2 sacks in the ball game and played very well. This is Maurice Williams on a sweep-style play going off the left side. Maurice picks up 7 yards. Now we come back with Alan Thomas in motion. Eddie Hunter finds good running room off the left side. Eddie picks up 13 yards, of course, needed yards for a first down. We were moving the ball well in this portion of the ball game. Todd Greenwood's back to pass. This is intended for Desmond Beckton. It's overthrown over his head, and Donald Wayne Snell tries to recover it. Now Mikowski's back to pass. He finds Muha. That's Raymond Fitz. Ray hits him, and he fumbles the football, and, of course, Virginia comes up with the recovery, and that was for a loss of 7 yards on that completion. Mikowski again back to pass. He finds Zimmerlich, the big tight end. Zimmerlich is quite a football player.
Yeah, he had 3 catches in the first half.
He certainly did. This is a bootleg-style pass, and then he goes right back to Zimmerlich again. That's Carter Wiley making the first hit on him, along with Alan Harris. Takes the ball down to the 20-yard line. That's Beaver Petty. Goes up inside for a 1-yard gain. The defense stiffens here, and Stadlin comes in. And, of course, his toe is true, and Virginia goes out in front 3-0 with 11:45 remaining in the second quarter.
Very accurate kicker is Stadlin, 12 out of 14 on the year.
He certainly is. He kicks off here. This is Stadlin kicking off. That's Tim Dudley out of Roanoke, Virginia, fielding the kickoff, finds good running room off the right side, and he's stopped there by Scott Hillman, also from Roanoke, Virginia. Now we pick up action with Todd Greenwood going back to pass. Todd throws over the middle. This was intended for Eddie Hunter, and Charles McDaniels, the linebacker, was called for pass interference. This is David Cox. David did an excellent job. He kicked the ball high. That's Jamel Adjemi trying to field the ball, and stops him down on the 5-yard line. Now Mikowski back on the option-style play. Good play there by Alan Harris, our strong safety, who stops him for a 5-yard gain.
Allen played very well, I thought.
The defense really came up with some big plays. Good pressure put on, and there's Mikowski again. He's quite a receiver, an excellent football player. Mikowski back on the option-style pass. He hits Muha. He's stopped there by Raymond Pitts, our cornerback. This is a 4th down situation, and they take it in for the score, and they go out in front 10-0, and we really didn't have the football, very few snaps in the first half.
And it was a 10-0 football game at halftime with UVA on top. And we'll be back and check out the second half highlights, of which the Hokies, of course, really dominated play. And we'll check those second half highlights out after we pause for this time out on the Virginia Tech Football Show. Stay with us. The Hokies on the short end of a 10-0 score at halftime. Coach, I don't mind telling you, I was concerned, and I'm sure you were at halftime.
Well, we were, Jeff, and we felt like we had to do 2 things. First of all, we felt that we had to control the football to keep it away from Virginia's powerful offense. And secondly, we had to play up to our capabilities. I didn't think in the first half that we played as well as we could have offensively or defensively, and our football team came back determined, and I was very proud of it.
Well, it was a great second half for the Hokies. Let's go back to Scott Stadium in Charlottesville and take a look at those second half highlights. And to make things even a little more difficult, Virginia got the football, Coach, to begin the second half, and then the Hokies got it right back.
Right. The defense did a good job of stopping them. We pick up action here. This is a 20-yard drive. This is Todd Greenwood throwing to Greg Brooks. Greg is from Lynchburg, Virginia. We had a penalty, and that was an 8-yard gain, so we had to overcome a penalty. This is Greenwood faking to Maurice Williams. He throws over the middle. And there's a pass interference. Maurice, as you can see, was a little upset on that. And, of course, that gave us a first down. Good run there by Eddie Hunter. Picks up the needed yards for the first down off the right side. Alan Thomas is in motion. Greenwood back to pass. He throws out complete to Eddie Hunter. This was a big play. Eddie picks up the needed yardage for the first down. And again, keeps the drive alive. The offense did an excellent job. This was over 80 yards from the fact that we had a penalty in the ball game. This is thrown out complete to Desmar Becton, Greenwood to Becton. So this is about a 95-yard drive in 18 plays. Big play here by Maurice Williams. Almost had him trapped behind the line. Maurice comes out of it and makes the needed yardage for the first down. The ball's down on the 15-yard line. It's a reverse type action, and Eddie Hunter picks up 7 yards off the right side. And then Eddie goes in for the touchdown, and of course this makes the score 10-7. Virginia's still in the lead, and this was quite a drive. As I mentioned, it was something like a 90-yard drive, 18 plays, and ate up a little over 7 minutes of the clock. Then the defense really comes back and does an excellent job here. This is Morgan Rome from Virginia Beach making that stop. Mikowski back to pass. Good pressure put on him by Robbie Jackson, and Robbie throws him for an 11-yard loss. Big play here. This is Desmar Becton on a reverse-style play. Desmar picks up 17 yards. does an excellent job. And that got the offense going. Maurice Williams finds good running room off the right side, picks up 6 yards. The offensive line was really coming off the ball and doing a good job. Here's Eddie Hunter. Good second effort running, and Eddie picks up 7 yards. Alan Thomas again in motion. Greenwood keeps the ball up inside and picks up 11 yards on the option play.
That was an awful big play.
That was a very big play, and again, the offense kept the ball in motion. This is Eddie Hunter going off the right side. Eddie picks up 3 yards. Ball goes down inside the 10-yard line. Greenwood hands off to Maurice Williams. Maurice goes down inside the 3-yard line. Now we're in our power set. Maurice goes up inside, and that was a 54-yard drive that the offense, a 60-yard drive, and that puts us out in front 14-10. So again, 2 big drives by the offense. Then the defense really does an excellent job here. This is Ward going up inside. He's met by a host of Virginia Tech tacklers.
Coach, because of the great offensive play, you can see how that fired up the defense, too.
I almost thought we had this when Joe Ledbetter almost blocked it. And the offense is right back in action. This is Desmar Becton in motion. Eddie Hunter finds good running room up inside. Eddie picks up 16 yards off the right side. That's Eric Clay, the strong safety of Virginia. Then Sean Donnelly finds good running room up inside for 5 yards. Greenwood back to pass. Now he hands off to Eddie Hunter on the draw style play. Excellent run here by Hunter. Hunter picks up the needed yardage for the first down, keeps the drive alive. Alan Thomas in motion. Excellent run here by Maurice. He steps over the Virginia players on the ground. Maurice goes into the end zone from 25 yards out. And, of course, that puts us out in front 21-10 with 7 minutes remaining in the ball game. Kowski back to pass. Big play by Carter Wiley. Carter from Roanoke, Virginia, from his free safety position, comes up with the interception. Now the offense is in possession of the ball. Greenwood back to pass. He finds Desmar Becton. Desmar takes it down to the 31-yard line. Alan Thomas in motion. Maurice Williams again, big play off the right side. The offensive line was really coming off the ball. He picks up 9 yards. Thomas is in motion. Hands off to Maurice Williams again. He picks up 6 yards off the left side. This was an excellent play in the ball game. Todd Greenwood throws complete to Terrence Howell from Hampton, Virginia. And that was a 3rd and 2 situation, and that makes the score 28-10 late in the 4th quarter. Now Seacoos is at quarterback for Virginia. This was a clock play to kill the clock. Seacoos again back to pass. He's thrown for a loss. Seacoos back to pass. Throws incomplete. Raymond Fitz defending on that play. And that's the way the score ended up, 28-10.
And it was a very happy win for the Virginia Tech Hokies. A very big win for Tech, winning at 28-10 to post their 3rd victory of the season. We'll be back with our feature on the Tech Football Show right after this timeout.
A familiar face on the Tech campus is Dr. James Robertson. Dr. Robertson is not only well known for his popular Civil War history class, but is also recognizable in athletic circles as the faculty representative to the NCAA.
The NCAA and all other major athletic associations require that a university spokesman in athletics be a faculty member. And so as Virginia Tech's faculty rep, as we are called, I represent the university at all meetings of the NCAA, the College Football Association, the Metro Conference, and the other groups to which we belong.
Dr. Robertson's class is one of the most popular on campus. He holds the distinction of being a Wine Award winner, a recipient of outstanding teaching honors at Tech, and is a C.P. Miles Professor of History, an honor bestowed on him by the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences. These aren't the only hats Dr. Robertson wears, however. He is starting his 11th year as an ACC official and will participate in 8 of their games this season.
I've always been interested in football, and Once I reached adulthood, I became interested in officiating. It just seemed to me that was one of the ways to keep very much involved with the sport. And so, as everybody does, I started out in Sandlot and moved up for high schools and got into small college officiating, and then was quite lucky to get invited into the big time, which, of course, the ACC certainly is.
Dr. Robertson, tell me your position on point shaving.
Nobody in athletics likes to see anything like this occur. And the general public tends to overreact to it and tends to form, I think, somewhat unjustified conclusions from it. I think what we have here is an old adage about one or two apples stinking up the whole barrel. Again, where point shaving has been the case with the Metro Conference School and where there are other allegations being made and whatnot, they strike close to home. But in the total context of the picture, we're talking about 2, 3, 4 schools out of 900 involved, so that, yes, we've got problems. But I don't think the problems are indicative of big-time athletics in general, and I take issue with reporters and commentators who say that intercollegiate athletics is rotten to the core. I don't think so at all. It's just that one or two instances are occurring that make the whole thing look bad.
Is it your job as an official to recognize point shaving in a ball game?
No, that's done by the individual institution. All I do is hope that they behave on the field.
Carolyn, thank you very much for that report. We're going back up to Charlottesville. You're going to see 4 very happy Hokies celebrating the victory on our post-game show with our star of the game interviews. One victory over UVA. It's all smiles, and it's my pleasure to interview the Virginia Tech stars of the game today. Eddie Hunter certainly was that. Eddie, you and Maurice Williams just had a great day and just tremendous determined running today.
Yes, we had a pretty good day. We have to contribute the success to, of course, to the offensive line and the fullbacks. They did a great job blocking, which, enabled us to, get up in the holes and, get the yards that we did get.
Eddie, what was said at halftime? You guys came out in the second half just a different football team.
Well, Coach Dooley mentioned to us that, if we had any pride, we'd come out and, we would keep getting after them and, sooner or later things had to go our way.
How about the 1-yard touchdown? We were kidding you. You look like Herschel Walker. Went airborne and over the top on that one.
Yes, that was a great thrill for me, scoring against Virginia. A great team, I think, like to thank the Lord, for just giving me the ability to play football.
Ray Quality Fitz had an outstanding game from a secondary spot in the Hokies' victory over Virginia. And Ray, you're a senior. You've been through the wars for a long time with this football team. What does it mean as a senior to beat UVA?
It's always a big win for us to beat UVA because this is a state rival. And last year when we lost them, that really hurt. And I was redshirt. I was redshirted my freshman year, and this is my 5th year. And last year was the only time we've ever lost to them, and so we had to come back and redeem ourselves so we could be the state team.
Well, that's what you really did today. Ray, this defense in the second half really shut UVA down. What did you guys do differently in the second half?
Well, the first half we didn't execute like we've been in the past, like we've done in practice. And after we got in the locker room, we were disgusted, and each player knew what they had to do. And this came out, we executed a lot better.
Well, this big guy on my right was one of the reasons the Virginia Tech Hokies beat the Virginia Cavaliers today. Kent, you and your teammates on the offensive line, just a terrific job.
Well, thanks a lot. We went into halftime after not doing much the first half. We got together. We decided we were going to come out, take control of the line of scrimmage, and just take control of the game. And that's exactly what we've done. The backs were tremendous. The second effort was great. That really helped the offensive line out a lot. So the offensive line got together. Defense played exceptionally well, so everything just worked out well for us today.
Well, as you can see, looking at Morgan Rowan, it was hot today at Scott Stadium in Charlottesville. Morgan, you played a great ball game today. You had 2 tackles, 4 losses in the game, and congratulations on a big one.
Thank you very much. I think that first half we weren't playing very good football defensively, and the offense kept us on the field. But the second half, after Coach Dooley and Coach Watson and the other defensive coaches really got after us, and we came out the second half and played good football. I think we put more pressure on the quarterback the second half and did some more stunts so I could get us a couple sacks.
Well, it's always fun to talk with the players after the ball games, and especially very enjoyable after such a big victory over UVA on Saturday. We'll be back with our closing comments on the show.
This Bud's for everyone who puts the roads on the map.
This Bud's for you. For all you do. The king of beer.
distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do, for you.
Are you saving money when buying the large size of a product? To find out, check the unit price. Usually, the unit price tag is found on the shelf directly below the product. The tag shows the exact cost per pound or ounce. With many stores using electronic checkout systems, shoppers are even more dependent on unit price tags. A careful check of the unit price can save money in the long run.
A message from your Virginia Cooperative Extension Service.
It is an advanced care hospital. The entire building is exclusively devoted to the care of horses.
Fred Fragan, director of the Marion DuPont Scott Equine Medical Center at Morven Park in Leesburg.
We can offer the same types of services for the horse that can be found in any major large animal hospital any place in the world.
The Virginia Maryland Regional College of Veterinary Medicine. People creating excellence.
Stressful situations are part of everyone's life. It's how we deal with them that determines just who's in the driver's seat. Stress or good sense. Learn to put stress in its place. Contact your Virginia Cooperative Extension Service for more information.
The Virginia Tech Hokies will travel to Gainesville, Florida to take on the Florida Gators next Saturday with our scouting report. Bob Rush, defensive coordinator for the Hokies. And Bob, no question, Florida has another outstanding football team.
Do they ever not have an outstanding football team? They're super. I've been down there a few times in the past, and they like people come down there, and all they do is say, Gator bait, Gator bait. We're not going to be Gator bait for them, I assure you that.
Well, let's talk about their people, especially at quarterback. Kerwin Bell is very high in all the statistics, and they have a great offense.
Bell is a great athlete, as most of their people are down there, and they really have a chance to pick and choose the best out of Florida. And Florida, of course, has great athletes. And anytime you are in the situation where you can pick and choose the ones you want, you're going to come up with the stud. And he is. He really is a great athlete. He can run some option. He can run. He can throw. He can do it all. And their offense does a little bit of everything.
Florida will be a big test for the Hokies in Gainesville next Saturday as Tech takes on the Florida Gators. Coach, I guess it's kind of like from the frying pan into the fire. Florida ranked number 5 in the country.
Well, Jeff, they have one of the outstanding football teams in the country. They're very talented, both offensively and defensively. It's going to be a very, very big challenge for our football team.
Well, congratulations on a big one over UVA.
Thank you very much, Jeff.
It was a great performance by the Hokies, and we hope we can bring you another happy story after the Florida game next week on the Virginia Tech Football Show. Have a good week, everybody.
Virginia Tech football with head coach Bill Dooley and the voice of the Hokies, Jeff Charles, has been brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers. Reach for that distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. And by Goodies Manufacturing in powders and tablets, and locally by...
Virginia football with Cavalier head coach George Welsh and your host, Tom Delaney. Virginia football is brought to you in part by Coca-Cola and your Central Coca-Cola Bottling Company of Charlottesville. And by A&N, your athletic outfitter.
Hello again, everybody. Well, in years past, 3 wins and 3 losses to start the season would have probably been cause for cheer in Charlottesville, but 1985 is not like years past. Coach, it's been said that winning football games is like trying to quench your thirst with salt water. you can never get enough wins. You can never get enough of it.
Where'd you get that one? I haven't heard that
Actually,
one.
Al Grove, Wake Forest, said that.
Oh, really? I didn't know he was a Navy man. You've been to sea? You know, I think our expectations were high this year. I think our teams were, and I think our staffs were. But, you know, there's been a series of circumstances that have affected us somewhat, and it's, you know, we lost a couple close games going into this one. Then something happened in the second half, which is difficult for me to explain, and that's, you know, we played a pretty good first half, and then we couldn't, somebody told me after the game they ran the ball 23 straight times against us, you know, and that's, I think that's something we have to look at in our defense then, if they can do that.
Mm-hmm. You've talked about the fact that this is not a Virginia team that is going to sneak up on people anymore. People are going to be aware of the fact that Virginia is a good, solid football team, and they're going to be prepared, and I think we're seeing an indication of that.
Oh, I think so. I think everybody, a lot of teams have played their best games against us in a lot of ways. You know, we beat a lot of teams last year, and it's, you know, we were ranked early in the season, and I think the people are pointing to us.
Mm-hmm. Some questions to answer and some highlights to look at. We'll be back in a moment.
All you kids that get your Pumas at A&M think you're as good as Ralph Sampson. Now do it the way I told you.
I know I can do it, just like Ralph. Watch this, Coach.
Like that, Coach? Hi, can I help you?
Yes, my daughter has a cold.
Oh, this is especially for babies.
Even though you don't need a prescription for over-the-counter medications, you do need expert information about them.
This one has iron and this one has zinc. I don't know which to take. You don't need the extra iron unless your doctor...
Rely on your People's Pharmacist for all your medication needs and for advice and valuable free health care pamphlets.
Help your health. You can, we can.
The black Cadillac, please. Right away, sir.
Excuse me. I believe that's my Buick.
Today, it's not easy to distinguish yourself from the crowd.
The Lincoln Town Car, please. Yes, sir.
But Lincoln builds luxury cars that stand apart. So whether you choose the Town Car, the Continental, or the Mark 7, you'll know there's nothing like a Lincoln. Lincoln, what a luxury car should be.
Virginia football is brought to you in part by Coca-Cola.
Optimism was certainly high in Charlottesville as the Cavaliers entertained the Hokies this weekend. It was a capacity crowd, an exciting day for football. And, Coach, once again this week, we really saw two very distinct and separate and different halves of football.
I think it was more so this time than ever before. I thought that I wasn't that concerned about it because in a football game, you only get so many opportunities. I thought that ours, for the most part, ours were coming in the first half. And but there was a difference in the football team in the second half. I think they got some momentum, and we just couldn't change it. We couldn't stop them when we had chances to stop them. Then the offense could not take the football and move it down the field after the ball changed hands.
There were a lot of opportunities, too, in the first half, perhaps more opportunities that were lost than anything.
Well, you know, we had to overcome a lot of penalties in the first, especially the first half. I mean, I don't remember a half in where there were so many penalties before. I think that one long drive we had, there was a long punt to Warren. They did punt well. Their punter got the ball way up in the air, which was, you know, they had not been punting that well.
Now, your defense established the early presence and gave the ball right back, and you went to the tailback word. Thinking perhaps about last week, you wanted to get him in the action early?
No, not really. We just thought that, you know, the plays, you know, as opposed to Duke, where we thought the fullback had a better shot, this team, the tailback has a better chance because of our blocking schemes. That's a new play for us. There was a draw. And, you know, we moved the football the whole first half, but we only had 10 points.
This drive is about 65 yards. There you're going to word out of the backfield. We talked last week about not having done that very often.
Well, you know, those are the same passes. We're just, Mikowski is just throwing the ball more to him now.
Now, this drive has hurt right here because it looked like perhaps pass interference. Connor Bullock got upset.
Well, he said he told us on the sideline. Now, I don't know if it happened or not that his face, the other fellow grabbed his face mask.
No. He got upset, and that 15-yard penalty cost because 65 yards.
Yeah, that's a big race. 65 yards for what? Huh?
For the drive.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean.
Right.
For nothing.
Mm-hmm. And then Tech came back, and the defense really did an excellent job.
Oh, I think we played pretty well in the first half. But then you got to play 60 minutes, though.
This first quarter ends scorelessly. The defense was rearing its head and getting emotional at times.
Well, that's, defenses are, that's the way you have to play defense, or the way you should play it.
Mm-hmm.
A little counterplay again for Ward. That, he had a lot of yards in the first half, and we had some, I think we were 10 for 15 with Makowski, and for over 100 yards, and we have 10 points. Things like this happened.
Yes.
A catch and then a fumble and then a loss of 10 yards or whatever it was. We had a 5 or 6 yard gain, and now we're back 10 yards further.
Mm-hmm. 76 of Barry Ward's 104 yards came in the first
76?
half. Yes. Or 78, somewhere in that range, yes.
There was a long yardage situation that Makowski and UVA hooked up on it.
And Zimmerling.
That was a great catch.
What a bright spot in the day he was.
Yeah, we had a lot of good things, but we had 10 points, which is our, that's our worst offensive output of the scoring output of the year.
Yes, it was. No doubt about that. Now, Kenny Stadler.
Because there was nothing at all in the second half.
Makowski
had threw that one away.
Yeah. In fact, he had UVA on the sideline open over on the right side, but couldn't find it.
I don't know if I saw that, but
Stadlin boots 136 yards. He's now hit 12 of 14 field goals and is first in the conference in field goals and scoring. You lead 3-0. But still, a lot of opportunities there that and still
right.
More
We had moved the ball, and you still have 3 points. Is not.
What about this squib kick? Intentional?
Yeah, it was. Mm-hmm.
And yet he did.
We have had such poor coverage that it's we thought we'd try to change up, and it's a little bit better on the AstroTurf.
You mean easier to get by with a squib kick?
No, it's the ball takes crazier bounces, and it'll skid and things like that. So it's a better gimmick or a better thing to do on AstroTurf than it is on grass normally.
Tech covers the punt well. You start deep in your territory.
Yeah,
but
95 yards.
Best drive of the day right here.
And I think we had to overcome two long penalties, right?
Yes, 2 penalties.
Over 20 yards.
Exactly right.
So we marched, again, 21 plays, I was told, although I haven't looked at the drive chart.
20 plays, including the penalties, would have been 21 plays and 94 yards, using 8 minutes and 21 seconds of the clock.
That's what you want, except it's still only 7 points.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an indication that.
But you take yourself into the locker room leading 10-0 after this drive. Good play by Zimmerling again.
Yeah, this one should have given us some momentum, but it didn't. We didn't come out in the second half like it did.
Right. Yeah, that would have had to make you feel good. You got 10 points, you score with 21 seconds to go in the half. You get the ball back to start the third quarter, but you couldn't take advantage of that opportunity. And that was a call that surprised some people.
I was hoping it would surprise Tech.
Yes, I know you were.
But it didn't. They knocked the ball down. I think we had somebody open, but they knocked the ball down.
Yes. And that's the way the half ended at 10-0. But I think that's been characteristic. You have come up with a surprise call many times, and that was one of those occasions. You commented earlier this year on I guess, less than a yard to go for the touchdown. You said, well, now in retrospect, maybe I'd have snuck that ball in.
Yeah, the first down at Navy was one of those where you shouldn't go wide when you're less than a yard, really, because you have a chance for a loss. But that was it was only time. It was third down and time for 2 plays, really, and it's. I thought they'd be ganged up.
Yeah.
I think we had somebody open, but they knocked the ball down. So that's what happens.
Well, Coach, you had total offense at 241 yards. You held them in the first half. You held them to 49 yards.
Really? Is that all? I didn't look at that either. 49. Well,
44 on the ground and only 5 in the air. A clear indication there that the 10 points really wasn't.
That's not enough.
No, not as.
That's not enough. That's exactly right. And then when they got the momentum going in the second half, we just never got it back.
Mm-hmm. You're going to see an entirely different football game in the second half, and maybe we won't see too much of it, but we'll be back to take a look at what there is right after this. Enthusiasm for Virginia fans turned very quickly in the second half as they found the Cavaliers outscored 28-0 in the second stanza of this football game. Coach, I've got to ask you this. At times, this young football team of yours shows perhaps that they have a very fragile belief in themselves. When things get tough, they have a tough time really sucking it up and coming back.
Well, you know, it's a young team, and it's not really matured yet. We're playing so many young people on defense, especially. It's not a young team on offense. So I think when you get into a situation like happened to us against Virginia Tech, somebody has to, you know, somebody's got to make a play on defense. We made a couple, but then we had some penalties. And the same thing on offense. You know, we ended up with long yardage sometimes, and then we threw a crucial interception when we have a chance to get back in it, and then we could not make consecutive first downs.
Mm-hmm.
And then once the tide starts to turn, if you can't, you know, do something either on offense or defense to change it, and that's what we have not been able to do. You know, it goes back again to the first half. We have all those yards, and yet we still only have 10 points.
Yeah,
that's part of it.
Second half now starts off with Virginia again hoping to take the drive and move down the field and score. Not able to do that. Going to the air early here.
Yeah, well, you know, we came out of the locker room figuring I wanted to throw the football some more. See, now that's a pass interference call. Now that's beyond me how you get pass interference there. I mean, I think you should be allowed to do those things. And he just kind of dumped one off in the flat. See, that was a 3rd and 8.
Yes, and this is what started the 23 consecutive plays on the ground. Well,
not yet.
No, that's right. It's coming up after this. Was he checking off here?
Yeah, he says he's going to throw an out. It did, which he does. So he's going out. He sees he has room out there on the sideline, so he checks off.
And this was a consistent drive. A great march down the field. 80 yards, 18 plays.
Yeah, well, see, they were 1st and 20 at one time, and then 3rd and 8. And I think it was in this drive that they ran an option on 3rd down and 4 or 5, and we're in a perfect defense for us. We blitz the roll, but we don't make the tackle.
Missed the tackle.
Yeah, you know, that's a chance to even knock the ball loose. So
there were several times that you appeared to be in position to stop the play, but just didn't make the play, didn't make the tackle. Execution wasn't there.
No, see, now we come back again, and there's about a 15-yard run by Word after the touchdown. And
that's when he goes over 100 yards on the day. And
now we get sacked, though. See, that's a 3rd down call. Now we end up 3rd and 7 or 8.
Plus, there was a penalty, too many men on the field at that time. Then Tech just seems to gain momentum now.
Well, now, you know, it's almost, no, this is the one. No, that's not, I was going to say, this is the option play, but that we had a chance to stop the drive and did not.
It
was in the first drive.
Starting on the 4th quarter now and continuing. Great drive to the end zone. It looked as if we had a chance of holding them out there. Defense stiffened, but they had too many opportunities inside the 10.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but you know, it's still all kinds of time, and now you can make a fake. Now we have, see, if he had a little more time there, Muha's open. That's how games are won and lost.
And you can just see Virginia Tech beginning to feel the momentum has changed, and they are fired up now.
Well, there's no question that you know, they kind of feel things going their way. Now, this is when the offense has to help, and we have to help. You know, the offense has to get going, and
not many times that Word gets caught from behind.
Yeah, that was a linebacker. He just,
It's not very pleasant to relive, Coach. I know it's as we take a look.
I got to relive it a couple times tomorrow too. You know, today. Yeah. Well, only I'll see all the plays.
See, there's an opportunity.
Yeah, that's
4 or 5
bad.
missed tackles.
Yeah, that's bad.
It looks like the defense has just lost heart right now.
You know, they don't happen for a half, and then they happen.
Yes. And the kick return, as Pittman brings it out to about the 19-yard line, and disaster strikes right on the first.
Yeah, there's a chance here for you know, actually Zimmerlink is open. I think he looks from the sideline like he is, but there's a misconnection there. I think that Makowski thought he was going to hook up in the hole, and he kind of bent over, and they missed each other.
Have there been, it seems to the fan that there have been several times this season that Don's thrown behind the receiver, whether or not that's been because he broke the wrong way or this misconnection? Or...
I think he's, you know, nobody throws the ball right on the target all the time. That one was it was not a read pass, but I think Zimmerlink said that he saw the hole and he tried to go to the right a little bit, and Mikowski saw it differently, and he threw the ball where he was. He thought he was going to turn around right there. So that's consequently they get an interception.
Coach, I think it's true in sports, and it seemed really evident in this football game that things in sports have a tendency to snowball. When things are going well, they start falling into place, and when things are going poorly, 4 straight drives, and Virginia Tech takes it in each time for the touchdown, after being virtually stopped cold during the entire first half of the game. It's just an incredible way that things can turn around. So I think that gives you cause to believe that still you can come back again. It's not all's not lost at this point.
Oh yeah, I've been around teams that lose 3 or 4 in a row. You know, we've lost 3 out of the last 4 now, and but we still have 5 games left, and I think it's a question of the little things, and then hanging in there and making some plays in the crucial parts of the game, because you know, a lot of football teams are very close now. And you know, I was looking at Iowa-Michigan, the game, and you know, Iowa won 35-31 in the last minute, where their defense didn't stop anybody, and then they won 12-10 when their defense did not allow but 1 touchdown. See, so we're not getting that combination.
Yeah, we'll be back in just a moment to discuss more about Virginia football fortunes right after this.
Sponsorship